the more they attack me, the stronger I become. Because it is like you are pouring fuel in the strength that is in me. So bring it on. But I'm telling you today that we have been able to defeat them. We have Chikota Hanchaninono and defeated them. What we have done to Nigeria and their agent in Biafra struggle is that we gathered them together. This particular sit at home, I told you people, will be the beginning of the liberation of Biafra. You see, the actions, the activities of Biafrans in this sit at home have gathered all the sabos together, all the sabotua together, and we defeated them. Bam! It is mysterious. How many of you will ever believe in this life that everybody will gang up against Biafra?
Governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday, and then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home, and government shut down on Mondays. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland.
Community in distress. Their loved ones have been killed by terrorists. Human bodies litter the streets, some with deep machete cuts, and many burnt beyond recognition. It's not a pleasant sight to behold. The smell of burnt humans fills the air, and graves are being dug as the living bury their dead. According to eyewitnesses, the terrorists stormed Runji village in their numbers, shooting sporadically and setting houses ablaze with occupants in them. Those who were lucky to escape say the rampaging gunmen operated for over an hour, adding that military intervention came late.
Kill our people, kill our husband. Don't put fire anywhere. We don't know where they come from. They come kill our children with my uncle, father, my sister yesterday.
About 10:30 yesterday night, after a successful wedding of our eldest son, the Fulani just occurred to the village and attacked us. And many souls were killed. About 30 corpses are laying down. Many are injured, are in the hospitals. And we are pleading on the solidarity of the government to come and rescue us. We knew what is happening in this land. We are living peacefully with these Fulanis. And now we became enemies to each other. We don't know what is the cost. And we are looking for the government to come. And one thing that disturbs us, we have military men around, but they can't help us. We want the government to withdraw all the checkpoints out of our tablan.
They are plenty, more than 200 people's attacks.
Did they bring guns? What did they bring?
they bring guns and shooting us and burn our house. Yes.
What were they saying? Did you hear anything they were saying?
They said that they will come back again and kill my children and also my wife, brother.
It's a black Sunday for these people as they gather to bury the remains of their loved ones in a mass grave.
Already about 32 people are killed. About 40 houses were burned. There was nobody that came here to help us. So I don't know. All of us were in pains. We are even confused who to complain to again now. Because we have been complaining and there's no any assistance. When the attack was going on, we called the military. I personally called them and informed them. Well,
So what was
according to them, they said they tried their best. You know, when the attack was going on, I was not there. So I won't say this is what they did. But all what I know, people were killed.
We will not run away from our land. Even if they come tonight after us, we are killed, there will still be some people who will talk, and there will be young who will rise again. Amen. And so we ask that the government of Kaduna State and the government of Federal Republic of Nigeria, they should do the needful. They know what they should do to stop this evil. They know it. I have said it, and let me repeat myself again. If by mistake one cow is killed by any of the community here, the number of military troops that will enter and ransack the community and look for those to arrest because one cow has been killed. And now we have 33 corpses and a young boy of less than 5 years who has been beheaded. What has that young boy done to these evil people?
Several villagers could be seen packing their bags to leave the village. They are scared that the terrorists may return and strike again. The people of Runji village in Zango Kataf local government area feel abandoned by the government. They want the perpetrators brought to book. Nisi Gabriel, Arise News, Kaduna.
Simon Ekpa is looking like a bigger threat than what IPOB represents. And when I was reading about IPOB, I'm like, these people should realize that Simon Ekpa is asking the people to celebrate Biafra heroes from 29 to the 31st. IPOB only asks for 1 day. That's May 30, which is the day that over the years they had celebrated the Biafran heroes. But Simon Ekpa is saying no, it has to be from the 29th to the 31st. That is a threat on its own that we have to deal with. A map
sun, we love and cherish Biafra, we have emerged triumphant from all our foes. Through the crucible unscathed, we passed victorious, our trumpets pealing the glorious song. Play it, sing it, all hail Biafra. Oh, hail Biafra, we shall always remember all that perished in the struggle for our freedom. All hail our heroes, our prayer shall be known both day and night. Say them always, all hail Biafra. All hail Biafra. Now our star shines everywhere. We crave humility. God guide and protect us all. All hail your wisdom, shielding us from fury, unleashed by our enlightenment. Biafra, Biafra, shining forever.
Good morning to everyone. May the souls of our departed heroes rest in peace, while the spirits of those heroes emboldens the heroes that are fighting on to restore Biafra. You see, you see, you see. Warm greetings from here to everyone. as the Biafran government under the Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoko, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Biafra, continues to bring Biafra to global limelight. And all this has been made possible with your support. So we need more of your support than ever. Our watchers need more of your support so that we can increase the woto. Because the whole world are listening, the whole world are seeing and getting the message and getting the communications documents that needs to be submitted to them. Today marks the 22nd day of the lockdown of one Nigerian terrorist institutions in Biafra land. And we encourage all Biafrans to stand fast as we continue to brainstorm to destroy one Nigeria. Because for us to be able to do this, we have to hold on to one Nigeria with the momentous aggression that will meet and surpass the momentum that they have. Kudos to the Prime Minister, to the Biafran government, to the Biafran people, and to the Biafra Defense Forces, and to all Biafrans worldwide, most especially to Biafrans that are donating massively, immensely to the liberation. The website is open 247. Please visit the website and make your donations, because without money we can't achieve anything.
Nigerian government is evil. It's evil. Nigerian government is a killer. Yes, it's killer. Nigerian government is a murderer. Sure, they are murderers. Monkey carry money, python swallow money. What you know go here? What you know go here now? Everybody quiet. All the youths are quiet. Musicians are quiet. Nollywood are quiet. Biafra government taking legal. Biafra government taking legal. Simon taking legal. Akumba walobo. Akom. Onyane kunweli foneme. Oba tokie. New dimension, yes, multi-dimensional approach. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ebon, woto. Ebon, kopafa. Woto. Ebon, kopafa. Woto. Mbajo my freedom, I'll get to my car. 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 For many years you've been killing us. Many years you've been slaving us. For broad daylight you killed us. killed us. Fwaba, Obibo, Okwama, Fabakeleke, Mbo, Enugu, Ehamufuna. They kill my mama, they kill my papa, they kill my siblings, yo. For Bayesa, don't they kill us? Don't leave us over here. Yes, don't they kill us? I can make one day I live there. You can't kill us again and go free. At this time, I'm here, but you need to watch. Equal people have a different spirit. You the push us, you go push you. You go fight us, we go fight you. At the end of Biafra, got to lay down. Ebon, woto, Ebon, woto, Ebon, woto. Mbajo my freedom, I'll get you my cow. 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 Nigeria government, let Biafra go. Biafra never go. Biafra never go. One day Biafra to go down. Biafra to go down. If you love Biafra, or you be a Biafra, raise your hand in the air. The let you go to Biafra. If on them, yes. Anya Nabagoni, Biafra Nabagoni. Biafra to go down. I'm what Tabagoni. Biafra Nabagoni. Biafra Nabagoni. I'm what Tabagoni. Biafra to go down. Yes, sir. Salute.
The more they attack me, the stronger I become. Because it is like you are pouring fuel in the strength that is in me. So bring it on. But I'm telling you today that we have been able to defeat them. We have Chikota Hanchaninono and defeated them. What we have done to Nigeria and their agent in Biafra's struggle is that we gathered them together. This particular sit at home, I told you people, will be the beginning of the liberation of Biafra. You see, the actions, the activities of Biafrans in this sit at home have gathered all the sabos together, all the sabotua together, and we defeated them. Bam! It is mysterious. How many of you will ever believe in this life that everybody will gang up against Biafra?
Himself obeys the sit at home on Monday, and then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home, and government shut down on Mondays. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland.
The more they attack me, the stronger I become. Because it is like you are pouring fuel in the strength that is in me. So bring it on. But I'm telling you today that we have been able to defeat them. We have Chikota Hanchaninono and defeated them. What we have done to Nigeria and their agent in Biafra struggle is that we gathered them together. This particular sit at home, I told you people, will be the beginning of the liberation of Biafra. You see, the actions, the activities of Biafrans in this sit at home have gathered all the sabos together, all the sabotua together, and we defeated them. Bam! It is mysterious. How many of you will ever believe in this life that everybody will gang up against Biafra?
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Army condemns violence under Simon Ekpa and urges global action. The Nigerian Army has strongly condemned the brutal treatment of innocent citizens, including a retired ex-corporal, Tirola Adewale, by the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and the Biafran Liberation Army. The Army has called on international organizations such as Amnesty International and the International Criminal Court to hold Simon Ekpa and other IPOB leaders accountable for these heinous crimes. Now, joining us to discuss this is we have a guest. Also, I would just like to add that the Nigerian Army has also urged Nigerians to stand united against IPOB's terrorism. But joining us right now to discuss this is Emmanuel Ikule, is an executive director at Elixir Trust Foundation. Good morning.
First and foremost, before you ask Musa the important question that they should have asked himself, and to ask other people that call themselves One Nigeria, it is the same Amnesty which had recorded the genocide of Biafrans in Mbo. The same Amnesty that recorded the genocide of Biafrans in Martin Americano's house. The same Amnesty that recorded the genocide of the Shiite Muslims in Abuja and in the far north. The same Amnesty International that has recorded the Legui Toll Gate massacre of the Nigerian army terrorists against the unarmed civilians who were protesting with Nigerian flags. They were not protesting with Biafran flags, so they were protesting with Nigerian flag to uphold the integrity of Nigeria and to uphold the image of Nigeria, to project Nigeria to limelight. That is what the youth of Nigeria that were protesting with Nigerian flag were doing. And the violence that the Nigerian army themselves unleash on the indigenous people have not been responded by International Criminal Court. You see, in this Biafran liberation, any media warfare will be a positive one to the Biafran people. You know why? Because there are over 500 pages of one Nigerian terrorist violations of human rights that we have submitted to the international communities. All the bodies and sectors that the one Nigerian terrorist government here have mentioned that they are calling to come and hold Simon Ekpa, hold Biafra government to a halt. We have submitted all these petitions to them. And none of these places have come out to hold one Nigeria yet. It is still one Nigeria that kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And all these international bodies, they have not come out to hold one Nigeria for kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. All the way from Kenya, tortured him for days, and later whisked him masked down to one Nigeria in a secret trial which nobody knew about. Not until we saw the news coming out from Showore, who happened to have been in court on that day, and then he accosted Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, blindfolded and chained, and was brought into the court. That was how he came out and then blew the news. Up till now, the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detentions had professed that one Nigeria is incriminating in the crimes of kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and every other crimes against humanity, and that they should release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu with immediate effect. Up till today, they have not released Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. His health is deteriorating in detention and is developing more health issues day in, day out. One Nigeria is not talking about this. Then when you now go into the far north, you see that Fulani terrorists are on rampage. They kill, they control communities, they take charge of local government. Over 40 local government areas in the far north is under the control and supervision of the Fulani terrorists. And these Fulani terrorists do not operate on their own. They are being sponsored by the Nigerian government terrorists. That is why, if we must get Biafra, if we must get Biafra, we must stem Nigerian aggression. Yes, we must stem Nigerian aggression. That is a quote for those that there is a force that has been pillaging your lives and properties for years. And for you to be able to bring it to a halt, you have to look for another force that is super stronger than the existing one. That is the EK Pentecost, which the Biafran government has come up with. And it is being unleashed by the Prime Minister, day in, day out. The delegitimization of Nigerian terrorist presence and their institutions in Biafra land is ongoing. And this will last for the 30 days duration. And after then, another 60 days will come. And after then, it will continue like that until after declaration and after you hear that we have destroyed and dismembered them totally. So when you hear them crying and calling on international community that we are causing violence, that we are doing this, that they should go and look for Simon Ekpa, this and that, ask them the question, when they moved Biafrans over 200 in a protest in Aba and killed all of them, Amnesty International recorded the video. Did they take it to international community to come and prop them? When you allow one Nigerian terrorist to continue to kill you, pillage you, destroy you, continue year by year by year, then you just come out to the media and then cry and then go back and say, oh, international community should come to our aid. International community will not come to your aid. A senior advocate of America was asked on CNN a few years ago, why are you guys turning blind eyes on the genocide ongoing in one Nigeria by the Boko Haram terrorists? And then he responded, He said because their lives are no priority, that if it were to be in the white African nations, that they would have gone there, because the lives of these people in Nigeria are no priority. But you know what is a priority to them in Nigeria? The resources that is suckled out of Nigeria is a priority. So the Biafran government has come to take a stand and to stop that perpetual cry and repeated mourning and mere social media protests and cry and then go back and sleep. No. That is what IPOB Nigeria has been doing, aligning with One Nigeria, come out to the media and make noise, wear the uniform, make noise everywhere. At the end of the day, they go back again, go and negotiate behind the scene with One Nigeria, collect money and sabotage every effort of Mazen Namdekano. The indigenous people of Biafra now has a government. Every indigenous person of Biafra falls under this government. So we will not stop the brutal nature of stemming the aggression of One Nigeria. We will not stop the brutal nature of making sure One Nigeria cries on a daily basis. We will not stop the brutal nature of taking the ignorant crimes committed by one Nigerian terrorist to the international community. The global recognition of Biafra now by the Biafran government through the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, is to make sure the international community understands in clear terms what has been happening to the people that are indigenous in what Nigeria, and to the Biafran people in particular for the restoration of the independence United States of Biafra. You should be shocked to hear that on having closed-door meetings with the congressmen of America and many other international and diplomatic bodies, you hear something like they have not been aware of all this. So, meaning that the awareness has only been done on the media for years, for the past 15 years. IPOB Nigeria has only been doing the awareness on the media, but they have not broken the camel's back by getting to have a government and go for political engagement, diplomatic discussions, talking with the international bodies as a government. You cannot go and start talking to the American Congress and you expect them to listen to you when you are just a mere organization or association of people, or a cultural group, or a pressure group, or a political career group, when it involves the interests of nationhood. No. So there has been wasted years. Yes, wasted years and wasted effort of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that has been sabotaged and destroyed by the over 2,000 DOS members spread all over the globe in the name of they are fighting for freedom. But yet, nothing to show for it. But I can shock you today, IPOB Nigeria have something that they have shown to have been what they have achieved for years. Let me see if I can bring this to the screen. I want you guys to see this on the screen. This is what IPOB Nigeria says they have been able to achieve for the past years, over 15 years that they have been shouting Biafra, 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 Biafra. Look at it on the screen. No? I don't know if you guys can see it very clear. IPOB Nigeria 15 years achievements. This is what you can get from them. I think that picture is not very clear. Let me get a clearer view of it so that all of you can see what IPOB Nigeria has achieved for years. Then you will now compare to just 2 years of great achievements of the Biafran government under the Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa Njoku. Njoku the Great. So if you're looking for Njoku, Don't bother wasting your time. Just go and look for the good works that Njoku has done, the great deity of Biafra land. When you get to see the good work that Njoku have done, you will now understand who Njoku is, because everyone are born for a purpose. See, what you see on the screen now is the 15 years of IPOB Nigeria achievement. 15 years of IPOB Nigeria achievement. That is what you see that is on the screen now. While Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, in 2 years, has been able to have a Biafra convention in Finland in 2023. He now have the Biafran currency. He has the Bank of Biafra. He has a Biafran coin that you can trade and stake and make gains and then use it to buy something online. You now have Biafra Bank Reserve, Federal Reserve. You now have the Biafran Liberation Army. You have the Biafran Police. You have the Biafran shop where you can go and shop something. You have a rebrand Biafra database system that is taking care of the database of Biafrans to be able to curtail criminality and the terrorism that you see today. You have a Biafra Liberation Army that is there to defend Biafra land and in the integrity of Biafra. And as we speak, every Biafran can speak and understand and know the achievement of the Biafra Liberation Army. That over 450 are massacred and slaughtered in a day in the far north, and that is not happening in Biafra land, is through the existence and the presence of the Biafra Liberation Army. With all the armed forces of Biafra, this is the achievements that you can speak of. Without them, those dead bodies of over 200, over 400 babies, children, women and men, pregnant women that they cut their wombs open and remove the fetus and remove everything, all this that happens in the far north would have been happening in Biafra land. So this is the importance of how you can feel the Biafra Defense Forces that has been activated by the Prime Minister. When he took over office, there was nothing to work with. So we started from the scratch. Why? Because every weapon that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had procured when we had ESN, the IPOB Nigeria has handed them over to one Nigerian government terrorist. Why? Because they were looking for amnesty, because what they were doing was political career. So when they told them, come for amnesty so they can get money to eat, can get food to eat, they rush, pack everything, go and give the one Nigerian terrorist government. You can remember when Soludo came into power, on his inaugural speech, he said he has been working with IPOB Nigeria to this very day of his inauguration, to see that he works with them and continue to work with them, and to go and bring the ESN that are in the bushes, so that they will leave the Fulani terrorists in the bushes and come and join him in his office. So these are the political pressure groups that have been working for 15 years. And today, what they can present to you is Biafra bottled water in Europe. They call it water of life. And they say IPOB Nigeria under DOS made it possible. This is the achievement of the IPOB Nigeria for how many years that you have heard of them. But in 2 years, Simon Ekpa is taking Biafra to the global stage. First is for you to see Simon Ekpa as the Prime Minister in Njoku and see him as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces who has come to be the defense of the Biafran people. Then second, you come to understand that God gave us him for a reason. When Mazi Nnamdi was kidnapped, every DOA that stood by him, they decamped and they went for Obi, they went for one Nigeria. Without Mazi Simon Ekpa coming out, none of you that all went with DOAs to one Nigeria will remember that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu still exists again. Because the idea was, as usual, just like they kidnapped him and arrested him and wanted to kill him in 2017, in 2015 when he was arrested, they will now make all of you to go back to sleep. You sleep, and then wait until after 5 years when they will release Nnamdi Kanu, he will now come out, people will now come and start from scratch again. That was the idea, because it has been a political pressure group, and it has been a trend of events that is controlled by the politicians of one Nigeria. Ifeanyi Ubah is behind this, Andy Ubah is behind this, Soludo is behind this, Obledu Todima is behind this, Dave Umahi is behind this, and all of them. And Ugwuanyi, the one that was in Abia State as the governor when Nnamdi Kanu's house was invaded to kill him. So they enjoyed the show and they understood what they are doing. Today, the Prime Minister has taken Biafran government to a global recognition where the Biafran government is now having meetings with the US congressmen. Many of you were asking questions before. Are you getting the support of America? Are you getting the support of this place? Are you getting the support of this place? Who and who is supporting you? And how will you get this freedom? Today, you have seen the political engagement. You have seen the diplomatic engagement. You have seen how $10,000 a month lobbyist payment and global awareness is achieving what 150,000 could not achieve. Today, you can see that in just 2 years, we've gone very far. Today, you can see that since the lobbyist work started, it's not even up to 6 months yet, but you can see how far it has gone. You can see where we have gone. You can see the stepping stones. You can see the legacy that are left out there and spreading everywhere. If you are not seeing, then you are blind, then you are deaf, and then you are dumb. 29 to 3rd December declaration of the restoration of the independence of Biafra Convention is sacrosanct, and the date is the date that is making every stomach to turn upside down. That is why you will see the Nigerian media now discussing on daily basis of the potency and the legality and the way and manner international community will be seeing the declaration of Biafra and how they will be seeing the Biafran government in exile. Why are they panicking? If they say international community has little or no recognition to the government in exile, why are they panicking? Because Simon Ekpa is the prime minister of the Biafran people through the government in exile. He is the Biafran prime minister to the Biafran people. So why is Nigerian government now panicking? Since they are now making the rounds that international recognition will not come to Biafra because we are non-state actors. Because that is what you hear them use when they are speaking on the media. They say you are non-state actors. A government in exile, a government engages a fellow government, and then you are calling that other government non-state actor. Then you hear that it is a government. And yet you are still deceiving your gullible followers that is a non-state actor. What makes it a non-state actor? And what makes somebody a non-state actor? Is government supposed to be government of the politicians alone? Or is it the citizenry that makes the politicians to become their representatives? Who makes the governing body of the government? Is it not the people? The people are the one that convene and then bring out a government and then accept the government to be their representative, to be their mouthpiece, and to stand and speak for them and to project everything that they will have and want to do. But today in one Nigeria, you now sit back to hear Journalists that are supposed to be talking from their ethical point of view, telling you that you as a citizen, that your opinion is counting as a non-state actor. So the state actors should be only the people that you voted into power to be your representative. And when they now become your representatives, seated there in the offices, you are nobody again. Does this happen same in America? Does this happen same in the UK, where they say they are copying things from that side? No, this wouldn't happen. Now, let us give you the gist of the week. Because the Biafra government is taking Biafra to the global stage. Yes, this other photo is not very big enough. Let's get another one that is big enough to show everything clearer. Because some of you may not know what the Biafran Prime Minister is doing and how far he is taking the Biafran affairs to the international community. Some of you may just have returned from Obi and One Nigeria. But this is the Biafran government chief of staff representing the Biafran government in South Korea for a peace summit. If we were not a government that is fully implemented, you wouldn't have the power to be in this place. You wouldn't have the power to be where you're not supposed to be. So the voices of Biafrans and the Biafran government is spoken and heard everywhere. Let's go to another one. And here is another picture, still on the global summit in South Korea. And there's something that should get you thinking here. You see the lady that is in black and uses veil to cover her face, like the Muslim people dress? Yes, she is a Muslim. And she's from Saudi Arabia. In One Nigeria, you will see people dressed like this also. Are you getting the point? But the ideology that the people that dresses like this in One Nigeria is quite different from the people you see in the global stage of this peace summit in South Korea. Because the agenda of One Nigerian government and their terrorist Islamic jihadist sect is to Islamize the entire people in One Nigeria, turn everyone into Sharia state, and then implement forcefully the Sharia ethics against your own will, thereby cutting your hands off if you commit a crime, cutting your leg off if you commit a crime, killing you if you commit a crime, using stones and strokes of cane and koboko to flog a woman if she commits a particular offense. This is the kind of country the Fulani Islamic Jihadist state wants to turn all of you into forcefully, against your will, not with your own will. You should understand one thing, that this One Nigeria you talk about, it was brought about through a forceful aggression. It was brought about through a forceful means, a way that nobody agreed upon it, and then they brought it against the indigenous people without the consent of the indigenous people in this contraption. How many of you has ever sat back to think of how Lord Lugard brought Nigeria into the forceful amalgamation? How many of your kindred were consulted? How many of your village chiefs were consulted and then they gave their consent? Was there any communication to your community that something of this kind is to be done and that you need to send delegate and representative to come and speak for you? And then the delegate went and then came back and then communicated to the community. And then the community held a meeting, discussed it massively, and then gave it like 2 to 3 months where everybody convened, reconvened, and then discuss on the matter, and then unanimously at the end of the day say, we consent to this, we consent to that, we agree to this, and we agree to that. Nothing of such never happened and can never happen, because One Nigeria is not a place that they seek the consent of everyone before anything is done. So you see today, when they tell you that you are trying to create a new state, or they call you secession, or they call you forceful or revolutionary sect, accept it, because there is nothing wrong with it, because the Nigeria itself standing was brought about through a brutal and a forceful quest, without the consent of all of you, without the consent of your ancestors. There is no record of any kind where your parents were consulted and then they were brought to a place, communicated to, prior to the final amalgamation document, that they now came back and communed with all of you, communicated, and then you people discussed over the matter for over 3 to 6 months unanimously, and then later agreed to be part of a forceful contraption that was set up as a company by Lord Lugard. That is the nigger area that they call Nigeria. The company of the Royal Niger Company of Nigeria that was controlled by Britain. So you saw how they forcefully grabbed all of you, quashed all your resources, brought them all together against your will, because they saw the interest in it that will benefit them. That they have to rob Peter, which is from the south, and use it to pay Paul, which is from the north. That is why today, money that you make from the natural resources in the south is used to harness the mobility and everything that has to be working in the north. Alcoholic drinks are destroyed and burned to ashes in the north in the name of Sharia ethics. But these alcoholic drinks are produced in the south, and it creates jobs for people, and the money that is generated from these alcoholic drinks is used to pay salaries to the people in the north. But take these alcoholic drinks to the same north, they will not allow you to sell it. They will destroy it and burn it to ashes. But the money that is generated from these same alcoholic beverages is now used to pay them salary. Do you understand why the dangerous and destructive diversity of Nigeria cannot allow you to breathe to the next day? That is why now all of you are crying of hunger. Left, right, center is hunger, hunger. It is a systematic system that has been created so that you all will remain the slaves. You all will be coming back to bend your knees to one Nigeria at a time like this. They will put you in one chance so that you'll be begging to see how to survive. At the end of the day, you have no choice than to do what? To bow down to one Nigeria. They want you to bow down to one Nigeria. Mazoke Chukwu say, I don't know that you are alive. Mazi, this time is when we don't sleep. We sleep little, we close our eye little, and we keep watch more than ever. And we can be live anytime because we follow up events, and we need to keep the Biafran people updated so that they will hear and know when their communities are on fire. So nobody should sleep and close their two eyes. Keep watch. So, as I was saying, hunger has spiraled everywhere in one Nigeria now. If you don't hear hunger From the north, you will hear from the west, but you don't hear the hunger so much in the east, which is Biafra land. Do you know why you don't hear the hunger so much in Biafra land? You don't hear the hunger so much in Biafra land because we are already immune to the Nigerian hunger system. We have not depended on the Nigerian system since we were inside our mother's womb. When our parents conceived us, inside our parents, even when they were conceiving us, when they were doing the thing to conceive us, our parents, we were already on that. We were even conceived through the system that we are used to, that one Nigeria is bad. So we got used to one Nigeria when we were already being formed inside our mother's womb. So as before we even started getting to form, we form, finish, come out from the embryo, and then we stand. We don't already understand one Nigeria inside our mother womb. Before we come begin, they grow, to even come reach when we go, they kick for belly, they kick. We don't understand one Nigeria. So before they even come born us now, the day of delivery, where we say hospital no even day to say make they born us for hospital for us to get the best of healthcare. No. So our parents have to find a way. Our parents have to find a way of making sure they deliver us so that we will come and see this planet Earth in the tough and the brutal manner that one Nigeria has already been created. So as we come out, enter this land, we don't already see as the ground be. We don't already get used to it. So as we begin to grow, we begin to see poverty and hard life, and we strive to survive. We struggle to become what we have to become because we don't depend on one Nigeria for years. That is why anywhere a Biafran man go, he can never survive. He can never suffer. What he can do is that he must survive either ways. To say suffer, he no go suffer. He can survive whatever they are doing there. He will find a way to do something to also survive. Because we have learned the hard way and we have been used to it. So those that have not been used to the hard way of one Nigeria and they are crying of hunger now, that means you have been enjoying the bed of roses, which is gotten from the sweat of Biafrans in Biafra land, which they come and give you in the north and the west, and then you will be enjoying it and finding yourself. You don't know where the sweat is coming from. The sweat has been coming from us, the Biafran people. So that is why we don't express or shout or cry over this very hunger syndrome that is ongoing now. There is a very big hunger syndrome ongoing now. And it's not just the hunger syndrome. There is also a calculated attempt to wipe off the entire race that speaks Christianity or any other religion except the Islamic jihadist terrorist religion. And this is what mandated Martin Nnamdi Kanu to set up ESN, to curtail this menace and to cry out. See, Danjuma, Theophilus Danjuma, the former military Oga of one Nigeria, who has been in the trenches and has been with them and understood what they do. He confessed and said that, wow, you guys should listen to this, so that what is coming to one Nigeria is something that will wipe all of you out. He told you guys that if you don't wake up now and then carry your weapons, carry everything that you have to carry to fight one Nigeria terrorist, that you will all die one by one. Did any of you take him serious? No, they did not take him serious. But this is somebody that has been part and parcel of the system, because he understands what the system has been. Theophilus Danjuma was calling on the indigenous people to rise up, to fight for their freedom. Because he already saw, because he was part of the system. He understands that Britain was part of the hegemonic tendency that doesn't want the indigenous people to survive because of their own interests. Why they now leave everything into the hands of the Fulani terrorists so that it works out very well to the benefit of the West. And then he said, if you continue to wait for the armed forces, you will all die one by one. And when he said that, Dr. Mai Lafia came out to explain and tell the people what he has seen about those behind the kidnap, the slaughter, the massacre, the genocide, and the Islamic conquest that is coming to be. What did one Nigeria do? One Nigerian officials decided to kill Dr. Mai Lafia. They killed Dr. Mai Lafia. Is he here today? Today, what he told people, is it not happening? Dr. Mai Lafia is not here now, but he was killed because of also speaking the same language which other people needed to have spoken to the freedom of every man in one Nigeria. Dr. Mai Lafia was about speaking the language that Kaduna Nzoko and all the gallant men of the Southern Extract did in January 15, 1966, of the coup, which was to stop the genocide, the massacre, the slaughter, and the killing of the Yoruba people, one, the Middle Beltans, because these were the primary targets. That was the main reason of the coup. It wasn't even to defend the Biafran people. The coup was to even defend the Yorubas that were to be slaughtered and the Middle Beltans that were to be slaughtered. Dr. Mai Lafia was trying to exemplify and to set up a salvage solution to everyone. When he called on the Christian Association of Nigeria for them to embark on weeks of sit at home to protest and to start now anticipating their disgruntledness against what the Islamic jihadist terrorist government had planned against them. Nobody took him serious. The Christian Association of Nigeria ignored him. Then Fulani terrorists saw it that he was alone, and he had no support, he had no other voice backing him up, that he had not even his people from his own side that were able to sustain what he said and to keep the tempo. That is why they did what? They decided to buy that man. They wipe him off. As they buy him and wipe him off, who has been again on the show? It was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has become the man that they kidnap and want to kill, the same way they killed Dr. Mai Lafia. But the God of Biafra, because it is about Biafra now, the kidnap and the killing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not successful. If not, there is nothing that would have sustained Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's life to this very day, because the plan was to kill him, wipe off the entire ideology and history and anything that is suggesting or talking about Biafra. Kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was a tragedy that happens to the Biafran people, but it has later come to become the open door to the freedom and the restoration of the United States of Biafra independence. Because as he was kidnapped, there came another man that one Nigeria has not been able to kidnap. There came the emergence of the Obato Obie, the Obato Osu, that has come to finish, that came to finish what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu started. Yes, Obato Osu, Obato Obie, Obato Osu, he has come to finish what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu started. So one Nigeria can continue to cry while we continue to get down to the international community and to make more awareness and to get more recognition for the Biafran government. So let them continue let the cry increase, let the news increase, and let us continue to go, because Biafra has come to stay, and there is nothing anybody can do about it.
Manuel Ikule is an executive director, Elixir Trust Foundation. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so I think I would just like to start by asking. We've seen what's happening in the north, in the south, right, in the east, the southeast of Nigeria, and there's just been a lot, because we're hearing of people being killed, we're hearing of sit at home, we're hearing of so many things that's going on. But I want to ask that you give us a brief overview on what's happening and how it has led up to where we are today.
Okay, when you try to look at the situation in Southeast, it's more than just a one-off thing of just the current happening of maybe the IPOP group trying to hurt somebody. It's more than just that. Southeast generally have been excluded from a lot of things, from access to leadership, access to opportunities in the country at large. And this has been long since the time of independence till date, from the time of civil war till date. And in trying to address issues like this, it requires more than just a condemnation. It requires a dialogue, because a lot of their leaders actually have not been happy at the way things have been. This has been years, not just 10 years, 20 years, 30, but this is about 50 years or more. And they are excluded from a lot of things. The young persons are suffering. And also, if you look at the way and manner that the army or the military have handled interventions in Southeast, it has not been similar to the way they have handled issues with even Boko Haram. There have been a lot of killings, be the military killing young persons and referring to them as IPOP leaders. No law permits killing of citizens. Yeah. So it's not because maybe other persons are torturing people that it becomes a crime, and when the military tortures people, it's allowed. That is not so. Administration of Criminal Justice Act, Anti-Torture Act of 2017 actually prohibits all forms of torture. Even in times of war, torture is being prohibited. So, but this, when you come to Nigeria, these things have been happening over and over again. We cannot count the number of persons that have been.
When one Nigeria tortures indigenous persons, it is not a crime. When the military kills, it is not a crime. When you now rise up to destroy a useless and unworkable government that is destroying your lives, it now becomes a crime. Where does that happen?
Again, we cannot count the number of persons that have been murdered by the military in Southeast. So certainly when this thing continue happening and reoccurring, certainly the people at one time or the other may also get tired of being abused, and they may start to find ways to actually retaliate in one form or manner. So for me,
Boko Haram terrorists have been slaughtering. Boko Haram terrorists have been taking over the place. And the final, just like I said before, Boko Haram is in charge of almost all the communities. If I play one video of the Zamfara State governor, Zamfara State governor said that the terrorists are not just in Zamfara, not just in the northeast, that it is in the entire north, that the whole of the north is under the control of the terrorists. But you can't see Musa coming out to make noise, going to crush the Boko Haram terrorists. No, he will not. When they see that the Biafran people who wants to stand to get their freedom, oh, that is the one that will make noise. That is the one, you know what? Sambisa forest that you hear of is not a Sambisa forest the way they say it. There is a conversion video from someone that was there and came back that said that there is a house. The house was built by Babangida, that they fenced around that place. That it is another country of their own, another region where they have created. They set up everything. A defense mechanism is there. Everything there is well taken care of. They have communications. They have targets. They can speak and do this and do everything. That is why they can easily track anybody down, and then they go and kidnap somebody. And what Nigeria will not say anything.
In one form or manner. So for me, I'm saying that this has happened a lot of years. A lot of their leaders, Southeast leaders, have complained. Traditional religions and all that have complained over time. But the federal government have not actually tried to actually address this concern. Most times it has just been army intervention in those areas. And when you overlook a lot of dialogue, a lot of things that should have been done, and move straight to army intervention in such an area, it only becomes problematic. So for me, a lot of things have happened there, a lot of killings, a lot of denial of resources, access to leadership, a lot of exclusion, even when, in short, a lot of things have happened over time. So in addressing such situations, there are better ways. Dialogue must happen. And if those things, because even the IPOB groups and the rest, there have also been maybe some requests at one time or the other, there have to be a dialogue to be able to address these concerns, because war and every time using force will not be a solution in this particular case, because it has lingered too long. And if the military has not been able to address it this way, then it means there have to be another way, an alternative way of addressing this concerns.
Do you think that they've never, sat down to have this dialogue? What ways do you think that would be effective when it comes to addressing these concerns? Because these are people's lives we're talking about. And if we're talking about the Southeast, I'm sure there are also people who are from there that have been killed as well. A lot of times you hear of these killings, and there are people who are from these states. So why are they not listening, or who's not doing the right thing here when it comes to addressing the concerns of the people that has obviously led to IPOB doing all of these heinous crimes?
Okay, over the years there have been complaints of I said earlier about the explosion in leadership.
Yeah.
This has been a major concern. Why has there been opportunity for somebody from Southeast to lead? When you are talking about the three major tribes, you are talking about Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. Then why is it that Igbo, and consistently, even those in leadership, the comments they have made concerning people allowing those from Southeast to lead has not actually been welcoming to some ears. So for me, yes, at one time or the other, there are certain times you hold an event, but people look at it like more like a political affair than seeing the sincerity of people in it. So for me, if the government really is serious, the federal government should sit. Even with Simon Ekpa and other people, they have things, reasons why they are doing what they are doing. It may be bad, but to them may be appealing. So at one time or the other, there have been terrorists. I know there have been one time or that they have arrested terrorists in the north. They have many times they have given things like amnesty to some persons in the terrorists and criminals in the north. There are times they have done similar to South. I feel it's high time the federal government also try to rework things. Sit with the governors. Every community has leadership, has gatekeepers. Be it religious, be it traditional, be it political. They should sit, even if it's a private meeting. This has to happen, and then maybe find terms of agreement or how to resolve this issue. Nigeria is for everybody. It's not just for some persons. And as I said earlier, unfortunately, the military have been able to go for peacekeeping in other areas and in other countries and have observed certain standards of intervention. But as regards intervention in some areas, particularly in Southeast, it has not been according to standard. That's why I started by saying there have been a lot of killings. Yes, there have been also counter responses from people living in those areas, or should I say from IPOB. But there are better ways of doing things. When you go to the field, if you are fighting, having an engagement with terrorists, and you kill them in the process, is a different issue. But in the situation where people are moving about their normal businesses, or you go into people's house, arrest them and murder them, certainly we're expecting that there will certainly be a form of counter attacks from such persons. So in this particular case, I suggest they have a sit down with the federal government. They have a sit down with the traditional rulers, the gatekeepers, and have a common what should be acceptable and what shouldn't be. If that happens to a large extent, some of these concerns will be addressed, because it's not everybody that welcomes the issue or what has been happening there. Generally, nobody is happy with killings of citizens. Nobody. So, if that step can be done, that will be able to calm nerves. At the same time, if opportunities, really like employment opportunities and all that, and if they can also be stop the criminalization of people from Southeast, it will go a long way of saying that yes, we are being excluded from access to resources. But now, because of this seat, that we have opportunities now that we can aspire to whatever position we wish for in this country, and we can be accepted. Then if it gets to that level, there will be no need. I believe there will be no need for IPOB again, because what they are advocating for, access to leadership, access to resources, will already be available to them.
Okay, so they want the access to leadership, access to resources, equal opportunities. But should violence be the way to make your voices heard? I understand that, everybody wants a fair deal for themselves, but is that the best way to go about this? Because we're saying that, okay, maybe the military, they're not having the proper dialogue with them, but in the first case scenario, should IPOB use violence? Isn't that, threatening, using terrorism to threaten the peace of the nation? Meanwhile, of course, the government...
Violence is the only thing that one Nigerian government understands. If you want to solve one Nigerian government's problem, which they have created for you for years, when you listen to this analyst, he said this has happened for over years. And for all these years, they have not done anything about it. So, to be able to counter all these things and to face one Nigeria that has been a violent state, you need to use a violence means. You don't see Satan and then you want to go and start talking to Satan, preaching a Bible. No. What you should use when you're talking to Satan is to use arrows that will pierce Satan into pieces. One Nigeria is the Satan of our time. So you don't need to think of playing with one Nigeria and then you go to start doing dialogue. The time for dialogue is over. The time for dialogue is over. And there is nobody that they say is a representative of the Biafran people in the one Nigerian parliament. We casted a vote of no confidence to all those people, starting from the governors to the senators, the ministers, the presidency, the Senate president, anything that answers one Nigeria. And you come from where we come from, which is the Biafran territory. You are on your own. That is why Idwa Kanonu is ongoing. Yes, Idwa Kanonu is ongoing. The delegitimization of one Nigerian terrorist presence in Biafra land is ongoing. So the people that are serving one Nigeria in the Senate, in the House of Assembly, the State House, and wherever, they are not serving the interests of the Biafran people. Yes. These are the same people that sat down and write letter in the House of Assemblies. And then they send a letter to Canada government for them to implicate Amaka in Canada. Because Amaka responded to the bully that came from people on the social media against our own tribe and ethnicity and where she comes from. So these are the same representative that claims to be your own. They align themselves with one Nigeria and then they wrote later that you should be killed, you should be jailed, should be imprisoned in Canada because you responded to the bully that is ongoing, that has been ongoing against your people for years. Who has come out to speak for the Biafran people for years? Nobody. We thank God for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We thank God for the Prime Minister Master Simon Ekpa, that is here now. So, if you're talking about dialogue on the table or sitting on the table to talk with one Nigeria, that time don't pass. The only dialogue we want to hear now is you release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You are going to see more brutal way of doing this freedom thing this time, because we know the look face. The prime minister that we have is quite different from Ojukwu, it's quite different from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and it's different from Wazirike, and different from all of you. Add up together. His name is Simon Ekpa Njoku. Njoku. His name is not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So make no mistakes trying to just oppose the two of them, or trying to just oppose his name with Ojukwu. No. Or with Philip Effiong. No. Or with Wazirike. No. His own name is different, and he has a different pattern of dealing with one Nigeria. So the language and the message one Nigerian understands is this woto language. The brutal language that makes them to come out and cry on the international media, write letters to the international community. If you did not do like this, the Operation Python dance that was dancing on our babies and children in 2015, 2017, 2020 to 2021, the Operation Odoka, 1, 2, 3, that they are using to kill and disappear our children on a daily basis, it would have still continued to this very day. The checkpoints that have become the extraction unit where our organs are harvested forcefully and we are forcefully disappearing into the bushes, then you will not see your family members again. All this would have continued. The daily extortions, the daily marginalizations, the daily destruction of lives and properties due to the undeveloped roads, no enabling environment, no electricity to harness your resources or your talent for all your dreams and aspirations to be able to come true, for you to become something with what God has given you in your brain. We have come to destroy what they had done. Because if you don't bring out a brutal force against one Nigeria, they will continue to kill your babies, women, and children, and nothing will happen. Listen to Theophilus Danjuma and hear what he said, if you did not get the point very well. Listen on. Sorry, I found out that video is not playing out. I'll try to play it in another form, just to make sure it plays out.
Meanwhile, of course, the government is trying to keep the peace.
So, there is proper way of doing things. Right. Just like I said earlier, the government have faulted in their intervention in Southeast. Then secondly, yes, what the IPOB is doing is wrong. It shouldn't even be in the first place. But when people in a particular area are being marginalized for a long period of time, it may get to that point where they have to sort other means of defending themselves. This has happened also for other locations, be it like North Central, that consistently, if you look at, you tend to also fault the intervention of military in those areas, where maybe because of one attack, they go and burn down a whole village. The military shouldn't be doing that. They should be going for peacekeeping or trying to resolve issues in areas, especially when it's within the country. But when those interventions happen, and those people that are supposed to be like protectors have become predators, it gets to that point where you start looking at alternative means of defending yourself. Because you reach out to the police are saying the military, it's government permission. Government has permitted intervention in such areas. You reach out to the military, they are the ones carrying out intervention of killing or carrying out torturing people in the southeast. So when you try to look at the security agencies that you should be reporting to in cases of when your rights have been abused, when the failure of the government to carry out interventions, when it has failed, and then you are reaching out to those that should be protecting you, they are the ones that are predators in this case. It gets to that particular point that even your leaders complain that the government is failing to help you instead of they're punishing you. Then within yourself, you have to find.
When the government are actually the ones torturing you, who do you need to go and talk to again? If you have a government that is supposed to protect you and to defend you from aggressors, then the government actually are the ones becoming the aggressors. What will you do? You will fold your arms and then sleep. You will fold your arms and lie down and allow the government to kill you because you voted for them to be in power. No. This is why you hear of self-determination. You self-determine to defend yourself. You self-determine to be alive. You self-determine to be who you want to be. You self-determine to rise up. You self-determine to fight for your survival. Yes. The war aim of this Biafra is for us to defend ourselves from not being killed. It's for our survival. The people in the Far North who have folded their arms and remain unprovoked, have they not been massacred? Are they surviving today? No, they are not alive. They are all butchered, slaughtered, buried, and gone. The babies, the pregnant women, the children, the men, and the entire family have been wiped off the surface of the earth. There is no survivors. The survivors of yesterday that were still alive, they have become the victims of today. And then you expect us to fold our arms and then be calling on God. Oh God, come. Oh. You know, when you listen to some people say, God will help us. God will give us the freedom. God will deliver us. God will do miracle. God will do that. God will do this. When you see some of them, tear them a slap. Tear them a very dirty slap on their faces. So that when they wake up, they will realize that God created you and then gave you dominion over this planet Earth. For you to take dominion over everything. That is why Fulani terrorists, they are taking dominion over you. Because you are something that is on this earth. Yes. They have decided and known the reality of what it means. Take dominion. That is why they will storm your community, massacre from A to Z, and you'll be crying and calling on the terrorist army to come. How can the same terrorist army that are the people that are aiding and abetting and supporting your genocide will now come to your aid? Where is it done?
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
Sit back, fold your arms, and then wait. And be talking about peace confab. Be talking about peace talk, where you define peace as the presence of no genocide, where you define peace as the presence of no raping, where you define peace as the presence of goodwill, good things, where you define peace as the presence of love and care and affection, where you define peace as the presence of no Fulani terrorists, where you define peace as the presence of no invasion of your communities, no desolation of lands, no invasion, no forceful takeover, no forceful disappearance of your children, no kidnapping of your children that went to school. Then you're not waiting for one Nigerian terrorist to come and give you peace. They will give you pieces. That is why we have studied one Nigeria and understands the language they understand. The only language one Nigerian government terrorist understands is brutal force. When you give them brutal force, they will recognize you and then they will come to their knees. That is why Amechi said that some Nigerians are used to use and dump, that if you line all of them here now and kill all of them, finish, they will not say anything. The next thing they will continue, you put food on the table for them, they will rush to go and eat the food because they have seen the killing and the genocide as a norm, as a normal thing that they can live with it. So they don't give preference to human life anymore. So when you now give that level playing field to the terrorists, what happens? Oh, they will bleed on you. Yes, they will understand that you don't know your rights. Until you rise up and then let them understand that you have self-determined and you know what you want and what you will allow to happen to you and what should not happen. That is what the Biafran government are doing now. That is what the Prime Minister of this very government is doing. And so the cry will continue because Biafra government is going to the global stage. You can see it everywhere. Diplomatic engagement and meetings going from left, right, center. You see the handwork of the Prime Minister. All we need from you now is to see that we supply and multiply the fighting kit, the weapons that we need. We need more funds. We need more money. That's why when you look down on the bottom of this screen, you see there, visit biafrarepublic.gov.org/donate, because that is where we take the money from. Go there, make donations. You can make the donation in Cash App if you're in America. You can make donation in PayPal. You can make donation with your Visa card. You can make donation with cryptocurrency. You can donate with anything, any way and manner that you want to make donation that is globally acceptable. And if you don't even know how to make use of anything on the website, call any of these numbers that you see on the screen. You can call the finance minister. You can call the IOU loan number. You can call the media team numbers displayed on the screen. We will put you through. We need every of your time. All we need from you is your financial support. Nothing more. Give us everything that you have. Fund this liberation financially and sleep. You wake up in Biafra. The Prime Minister will do the rest. God born him and brought him for this very purpose. And God gave him the wisdom, the strategies on how to go about it. And nobody can beat it. So, all we are asking to you guys is that you should come and sow your seed. Yes. Bring all that you have and bring them. Yes. One Nigeria have been killing us and butchering us and massacring our people, cutting off heads. And they are still doing it in the far north to others that have remained unprovoked. But the Biafran people have said, enough is enough. We cannot remain unprovoked and watch you cut the heads of our babies to pieces. And then later you come and cry because we have come back to repair, because we have come back for avenge, because we have come back to kill you back as terrorists that you are. And then you're coming to call Amnesty International. You're coming to call America. You're coming to call UK. You're coming to call the International Criminal Court. Where were those international criminal courts where you slaughter over 450 people in Zamfara? Where you slaughter over 250 people in Sokoto 2 weeks ago? Where was the international community? What are you doing about the Boko Haram? And why are you aligning with the Boko Haram and working with the Boko Haram? Why? Why is it that when it involves those that are able to stand up to speak, those are the people you stand against? Now, the youth are dying of hunger because they have protested several times. You kill them. You lock them up. Can you imagine the situation whereby somebody is hungry and somebody does not see job opportunity. Do you imagine a situation whereby someone does not see work, does not see job opportunity, does not see food to eat? Then they kidnap their friends, they kidnap their brothers and sisters, they kill their mothers, they kill their fathers, they kill their aunts, and they kill their friends and well-wishers. Even their schoolmates, they kill. And then they are cut their heads to pieces. And then these people now heated the road, carry placard, and then protest and say, stop killing our people, oh. End hunger, we are hungry, oh. We want a change of government, oh. We want this tyrannic government to be brought to an end because it has done us no good, only massacre, slaughter, massacre, slaughter. And then because these people cried out against the genocide that you have committed upon them, against the terrorists that you have unleashed to destroy their families and their existence, and to take over their lands, because they came out to protest and carry placard, you now arrest them and lock them up and tell them to come and pay 10 million naira before they come out. Somebody that was hungry, that did not have food to eat. Somebody was hungry and was crying of food, crying of hunger. I don't have food to eat, oh. I am dying, oh. Fulani terrorists is killing me, oh. He came out to come and aid their voices, to come and cry out. Because they come out to cry out, you now arrest them, lock them up, and then say they must pay 10 million naira before you release them. After Fulani terrorists have already killed them before, after Fulani terrorists have already massacred them. So that means when Fulani terrorists toss you around from point A, Nigerian terrorist government will now toss you around from point B, and you will now be moving like a pendulum ball, going from point A and B. You don't have equilibrium. You don't know where you have to balance. You just will be moving up and down like that, up and down, up and down. The next thing, so you will not even know who will now later kill you, whether it is the terrorist foot soldiers in the bushes or the ones that are wearing uniform working as one Nigerian foot soldiers in the community. Tell me why we should not crush down and destroy this kind of terrorists that has ravaged the entire community. Tell me why the Biafran government, the Biafran people should not destroy this kind of people. So one Nigerian needs a brutal force. When I mean brutal, I mean brutal. So those that do not understand, go and ask questions and understand why the Prime Minister is using the brutal force that he is using against the terrorists of one Nigeria. Listen to this again.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
Did you see Shetima on the screen? Shetima turns down the clamp down on the terrorists. This is a vice president, and he's part and parcel of the terrorists. When decisions were made that the terrorists should be clamped down and destroyed, Shetima said, no, they should not clamp down on the terrorists because they are the soldiers of the caliphate. They are using them to fight the Islamic jihadist terrorist war against the Christians. And then somebody is seated down in the studio spewing nonsense from the mouth and telling me if brutal force is the right way and manner to fight one Nigeria. When what Nigeria is unleashing terrorists to come and kill you on a daily basis, if not because of this Biafran government in exile. Today, all of you don't hear about Ebubagu again. Ebubagu was set up and sponsored by one Nigerian terrorist to come and be killing you inside your own community. What they could not use the Fulani terrorists to do all the way from the far north, using the grazing routes, which we stopped them. They now decide to now recruit some other people in your community, arm them and be paying them 50,000 naira every month, and call them a wago, whereby they will now bring the terrorists in uniform. They will come and mix them with the wago in your community, and they will continue to be massacring you in broad daylight. And you were singing praises and clapping for them. So if they don't kill you from the direct way, they use the indirect way. Today, do you hear about Ebubagu again? So, the Prime Minister of Biafra, the Biafra Defense Forces are using the best solution to end one Nigerian terrorist. And that best solution is the brutal force method. This brutal force method should continue and will continue to stand, because it is the best thing that has ever happened to the Biafran people by destroying the one Nigerian terrorist. We are not speaking as an organization or association or a cultural group. No, we are speaking as a government. That is the ping that is pinging you people. Oh, yes, that is the ping that is pinging you people now. Because you are sitting down to wonder, how can we engage this time on ECPA people? Then that is why you are putting here IPOB. You say Army condemns IPOB's violence. Yes, IPOB means Indigenous People of Biafra. Indigenous people of Biafra are not the one coming out with violence. Indigenous people of Biafra, through their government, are actually the one trying to quell that violence. They are the ones trying to stop the violence. But you don't want to call the government of this IPOB, the government of these Indigenous people of Biafra, which is the Biafran government. You don't want to call their names so that the legitimacy will not come out very well from your mouth. But it is shame unto you, because you call our names properly or you don't call our names properly, we are still doing wonders. And you cannot stop us. Yes? Because when you call us to come and identify ourselves, we don't come to identify ourselves as IPOB organization. No, we come to identify ourselves as Biafra government that is in charge of the IPOB. Yes, IPOB means Indigenous People of Biafra. So we are the government, the Biafran government is the government of IPOB, the government of the Indigenous People of Biafra, defending the Indigenous People of Biafra from the aggressors that are coming to cut their heads off every day. And we will do more. We will destroy you people after we finish. You people will be running anytime you hear of the name Simon, Ekpa, then Njoku. In this generation and another generation, anyway that you hear of Njoku and Simon, Ekpa, that good guy that they used to call him, you people will run. You will run and you will not look back again.
You have to find a way to help yourself. It's the wrong means, but this is where we are at this particular point in time. And for these issues to be addressed, they have to be a sit down. Because consistent killing, a house that fights itself cannot stand whenever there's external invasion. That is why issues like Boko Haram will continue to persist. Because within, we have not been...
This is the way we are at this particular point in time. If you people are saying that the way we are doing it is the wrong way, we don't mind you. This is the way we are at this particular point in time. And we have to do it the way we have to do it now, so that we can save our babies, our women and children from the hands of the terrorists. And we owe nobody any explanation. It is called self-defense. It is all about our survival. Yes. And if anybody is looking down on how far we have won this war, this systematic war that has been ongoing, they should go and ask one Nigerian terrorist Musa, how far his men are falling on daily basis, and how many they are treated or are being treated in the Nigerian hospitals. Yes, they should go and ask them so that they will understand the power might of the Biafra Liberation Army. Yes, if you undermine the might or the power of the Biafra Liberation Army, go and ask Musa how far are his men getting the hit. Then
we have not been, there's no unity within the country, be it the intervention of security agencies in certain locations. Let's not forget that before even independence, during colonial times, there was what they called, should I say, martial tribes or thereabout, where you put tribes that you know normally they are at crossroad against each other. So you carry people from the north to come and police the south, you carry the south to go and police the north. Those interventions or those type or archaic intervention has still persisted till date. And if you are thinking about unity and thinking about saving lives, then they have to be a sit down, especially when you want to seek peace. And when the people you are coming to them in the aim of intervention see sincerity of peoples from your intervention, they will be forced to work with you. But people are even scared that even if they give intel to you of such interventions, you go back and still point them out and they'll still become suspect in cases like this. Interventions like this have also happened in Yobe, where citizens came out to report to the police and military that there are certain persons that are involved in Boko Haram and the rest, and still the same persons were arrested and freed the same days, and they went back and murdered their fellow relatives because they reported them. Just some weeks back, there were still bodies being still carried and towed, about 100 in vehicles in Yobe, because of what? So these are similar situations. Right. If we really want to be sincere, then we have to.
Did you get the message? Hey. The story of Wandume has just been told here. Wandume killed, raped, destroyed communities in the north. And then the youth in that community now rounded him up with his men, arrested him, took him to the security agencies. After they must have beat the hell out of them. On getting there, the security agencies took hold of Wandume on the order of the federal government of Nigeria. They gave preferential treatment to Wandume and all his terrorist boys. Then the youth of the community, which these same terrorists have killed and raped their mothers and sisters and siblings and everyone, they were arrested and locked up. Nobody knows their whereabouts today. But the terrorists were given preferential treatment and they will later release. So for those of you that are talking about, if this brutal manner is how we are doing it and how is the way forward or the best way to do it, go and weigh and ask yourself the question, how somebody will rape your sister, your mother, your brother and sisters and your siblings. You see it before your very eye. And then what happens is that you try to defend yourself. You try to destroy these people. You try to cut them off. And then when you do everything that you've tried and done, you now say, oh, I don't want to take laws into my hand. I want to hand them over to the security agencies. You took them to the security agencies. People that have killed your brothers and sisters, rape your wives and your sisters and siblings. Then on getting to the security agencies, they took hold of the terrorists that have committed the crime. Then they lock you up and they kill you. Then they release the terrorists. In your next life, you will not think of having dialogue with a terrorist because they are one and the same thing. Mind you, remember that when they release all these terrorists, they reintegrate them back into the army, the police, the Air Force, and the Navy. So they are one and the same thing. That is why we advise all of you, if you have a brother or sister that is still serving in the army, police, or Air Force, or Navy, or civil defense, go and tell that your brother to remove that uniform and throw it away. If he doesn't have another job to do, tell him to start learning tailor. Tell him to go and start learning how to use wheelbarrow. Tell him to go and start learning something else if he wants to leave. But if he wants to continue to receive 30,000 naira as a salary, 40 and 50,000, then at the end of the day, he will buy along the road. Because when we see you with that uniform, you are an endangered species. You are a terrorist to the Biafran people. And we don't dare harbor terrorists. We don't have prison to keep terrorists. We don't have place to dialogue with terrorists. What we do with terrorists is that we send them to heaven to go and meet Chukwokike.
We have to disassociate ourselves, first of all, from criminals and mean security agencies. And then in working in areas, they should work not because of personal hatred for a particular tribe or personal grudges they have in the past, maybe by leaders, because sometimes they are used to push agenda by the leadership, those in leadership. So there must be a sit down to address situations like this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because on one hand, if you're being abused, you definitely want to defend yourself. Obviously, violence is not the case, it's not the way to go. But we just hope that the military, all of our security agencies, they're ensuring that these people are safe. You know, the safety of the citizen is imperative for everyone, and we hope that, you know, even people who are in government are giving the equal opportunities to these people so that they don't feel marginalized and they don't now, you know, take a
The newscasters of One Nigeria, they are working according to the template that they give them. That is why even when their guest in the studio or the analyst is trying to give a proper perspective of how things should be done, they will still push the narrative that is given to them according to the script from One Nigeria to be heard. So, you know, and you have been told that the terrorists, the people in uniform, are the real terrorists, that they're working together with the other terrorists, and you're still advocating that they should come and do more. How do you expect Satan to change and become Jesus? How do you expect Pharaoh to change and become David? How do you expect Goliath to change and become the little David before he later grew up to become the big David? It is not done. Let's listen to one.
Local front.
He's not a state signatory to it. Is there a possibility that the ICC will listen to Simon Ekpa and act on
Local front? They will only intimidate you, they will only suppress you, and at the end of the day, the Nigerian state doesn't even respect court order.
Thank you. Unfortunately. Barrister, okay. Let me come to you. Just Dr. Deji talked about in the international community how we can play around the international community. And I want to ask you this question. In response to Nigerian Army's call, you know, to the ICC and Amnesty International to investigate or whatever about Simon Ekpa, you know, activities of IPOB in the Southeast. In response to that, Simon Ekpa also said that he has compiled that 5-page summary, you know, of the inhumanity of the Nigerian army against the people of the Southeast, unarmed civilians and in the Southeast. Yes. Considering the fact that Simon Ekpa is a non-state actor, as we know it now, and the treaty that established the ICC, he is not a state party, he is not a state signatory to it. Is there a possibility that the ICC will listen to Simon Ekpa and act on his submission to the ICC, if he ever does that?
I don't think, I'm not a political scientist or a student of international law, but what I'm trying to say today is conjectural. That is, it's like a guesswork. Now, but from articles I've read, I observed that the Simon Ekpa or whoever, or even Nnamdi Kanu or whatever the case may be, may not be held by the United Nations, whatever the case may be, or even the ICC, because they deal with nations, if I'm correct. Now, it's only a nation that can do that. Now, who are those to propagate, or maybe let the world know about the cry of Biafra? Like, if you know, I am from the south part of Nigeria, and Ken Saro-Wiwa, which you mentioned rightly just now, did not on its own go out to international bodies just like that. It was some countries that...
Now, when you listen to him from the very beginning, he said he's not a political analyst. So he doesn't know. So he's going to do guesswork. So only that one alone should disqualify everything that he's going to say. But I will allow him to say what he wants to say, because I want to pick a point somewhere. And before he goes on, the question that man asked him there is a question that some lunatics will also be thinking, because they don't understand what we are doing. Now, I have explained about the power of self-determination, which is enshrined in the United Nations booklet, and also there in the African Charter. It's also there in the Nigerian fraudulent constitution charter. So when somebody is killing you, and you see that the government that is supposed to stand for you is failing you, you don't have the right to sit down and fold your arms to be massacred and slaughtered. Did you hear that? Okay. Now, Fulani terrorists that are killing you on a daily basis, which part of the European Union or United Nations Charter gives them the power to massacre you and to slaughter you? Or one Nigerian government that is aiding and abetting them, giving them the sponsors to slaughter you, which part of the United Nations Charter gives them that power? They are asking questions if United Nations will listen to us. We are a government in exile. And he said, oh, we are no nation. So he doesn't know what it means to be a government. He doesn't understand what it means to be a government. If we are no government, we cannot be able to engage the international communities. We will not write letter to government of countries and we will be recognized. If we are no government that has power, why is it that the Nigerian government cannot just wake up and then come and slaughter us all without coming to be crying on the media? Why is it that they have been hitting us all this while? And then we keep quiet, we allow them to hit us until when we rise up before they start crying. Why are they now seeing the power of how the resistance that we have given them have become? Why is it now a problem to them that they cannot withstand us, as they call us non-state actors? We say we be government. Why are they calling on another government to come and interfere to solve a problem of the people that they say they are non-state actors? The people that they say they are not recognized, they are no government. A government that is conducting referendum voting for their people. And over 50 million have given their yes to say destroy Nigeria because Nigeria has destroyed our lives for years. Restore Biafran independence because we don't want to belong in this place again. We cannot be president in this country. We cannot be vice president. We cannot be anything. We cannot do anything we want to do. We cannot decide how we will need to be governed. We cannot decide the kind of development we want. We cannot decide how we want to live and what we want to worship and how we want to worship. It is the oligarchies that have to decide for us. The foreign terrorists have to decide for us. A government in exile that government in exile. Listen, let me.
Countries that had sympathy with Niger Delta, like the Canadian government, that propagated, the idea of, the oil and whatever in the Ogoni land. And when Canada and some other countries came, they propagated and sensitized, the rest of the world to the suffering and the subjugation of the Niger Delta people. And that was how the United Nations now listened to them, because those particular bills were sponsored by nations that were in sympathy, with that. Now, under International Convention on Code, now, do you know why it's going to be very difficult for nations to begin to say they support openly, the struggle in in the Biafra land, as the case may be? The moment you do that, the Nigerian nation or government will see you as an enemy state that is trying to interfere in its internal affairs. And if you know what is the codes in the United Nations, the conventions they have, they talk about sovereignty and suzerainty. You understand? Sovereignty and suzerainty. So what they agree is, among the Magna Carta things that they agree by all nations who are signatory to the UN body, that you cannot interfere. You shall not. It's a shall. That is, you must not interfere in the internal affairs of a nation state to protect their sovereignty and their sovereignty, as the case may be. So it will be difficult for this South America now to begin to come and directly, support the people of Biafra or any other secessionist group in Nigeria here. Because they will see that
there's a concept of responsibility to protect, in the case of genocide.
Yes, that is it. You have to prove it.
Against humanity is
and you have to prove it. And I'm very happy that a political scientist is here. How do you prove it? Do you know how you're going to prove it? If you go there without having a voice and a collection of nations who are going to echo and propagate that your idea, they might not listen to you. The politics in the international arena, we all know, even though I am not a player, but we know the politics that is going on there.
All right, then.
So if he has to,
So what is your man is actually telling you is that if United Nations or international community don't come and interfere in your genocide, you should allow Nigeria to kill all of you. You see the foolishness of men. You see the brain of men. You see where their thinking faculty can go. You see how demean they are. That if international community don't come and interfere in whatever Nigeria is doing to you, allow Nigeria to kill you and die. Hey, God have mercy. Who did this to these people? Demented brain. Please, someone should borrow them brain, because their own brain don't to die. For the record, let this moron here understand that Finland alone are ready to sever their ties with one Nigeria because of this Biafra liberation. Because they don't want to give Mazi Simon Ekpa to them for them to go and kill because of fighting for the Biafra. So if you people are sitting there thinking that some countries values oil and gas money than human life, just like Nigerian terrorist government values the oil and gas money than human lives, and all of you that is sitting there in the studio talking nonsense, that you value oil and gas money, that is the interest of the international community and Nigeria to human lives that are slaughtered on a daily basis. There is a country that has already shown their support and standing their ground firmly, that no matter what happens, they cannot use the oil and gas to equate to the lives of children, babies, and men that are slaughtered on a daily basis. That is a message, a very strong message that some of you need to understand. This is what Finland have done. If not, Finland would have delivered our prime minister and give to Nigerian terrorists because of their interest of oil and gas and whatever business that they have in the international community. No, because they value, yes, because they value what is freedom and the lives of the babies and children and women. They value the existence of humanity and the oil and gas interest. That is why you see that the prime minister is still waxing strong, and Finland have not handed him over to these people. Now, let me respond to that moron, because he said he doesn't have knowledge of what he's saying, so he's saying guesswork. So when people are listening to guesswork, when there are no facts on it, you will always be listening to morons. Now, a government in exile effectiveness depends primarily on the amount of support it receives, either from foreign governments or from the population of our own country. Do you hear that? Your support and your effectiveness depends primarily on what you get from international community and from your government of the home country. The government of your home country is the Biafran people. I'm asking you now, what support has this government in exile gotten so far from the government of their host country, the Biafran people? Over 50 million votes from the Biafran people have shown the amount of effectiveness and support that this government is the standing and the only accepted government of the people, that they should crush the existing government of one Nigeria out of the place and then implement the Biafran government. If over 50 million, can you show me any of the elections of one Nigeria presidency that they do, and then you see that 50 million votes, 50 million votes, 50 million votes have been accounted for in one Nigeria election? There are people that are in their 50s. There are people that are in their 50s and they have not voted in one Nigeria for once. There are people that are in their 80s, they have not voted in one Nigeria for once because they know if they go to the polling unit, they may get killed. There are people that are in their 40s, they have not voted. I tell you that I have not voted in one Nigeria before, because whenever I hear of the election of one Nigeria, I sweep it under the carpet, because it is where you go and then you get killed. It is where you go back with one leg. It is where you go and then you go back with one hand. It is where you go and you will not go back home. Over 50 million people have voted for the Biafran government to destroy one Nigeria and to take over Biafra land. This is the support, this is the dependency, this is the effectiveness of the Biafran government. It was after we have gotten this populace amount of support from the indigenous land.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
Yes, we have to continue. You see, governments in exile may have little or no recognition from other states. That is a fact. It's not every state or every country that will recognize you. We accept and acknowledge and know that even in the freedom fighting that you're fighting, you are a government and you are fighting for freedom, or even if you were just a mere organization, you're fighting for freedom, you will not get the support of everybody. When a vote is casted, there are people that will always vote no. Yes. If there are people that don't vote no, then it means there was no vote casting. People must vote no, while people must vote yes. So there are countries, it is not all countries that will give you recognition, while others will give you. But the effectiveness of a government in exile is solely dependent on the amount of support you get from international community and other countries and states. Then the biggest one is the one that you get from where? Your homeland, your home country, your home government, your home state, where you are fighting for, the people that you're fighting for. When the people that you're fighting for have given you the mandate, that is what supersedes every other one. If you look at the stage of this freedom fighting implementation that the Prime Minister has done, first, he went on to do what? To set up a government. From the government, he inaugurated all the offices and then implement them. All the arms of the government, he brought them out and implemented them. The next thing was to see that he gets the maximum support of the homeland country where he is fighting for. So do you now understand that the Prime Minister knows what he's doing? Because the primary objective is that you get the mandate of the people that you are fighting for. You have the evidence of it to present to both international community and within. Now, this has been recorded. The home country, which is the people that wants the freedom that we are fighting for, have recognized with the Biafran government, have given their vote of confidence, have casted their vote, where you have over 50 million votes casted from the Biafra self-referendum, to tell the Prime Minister that we are fully behind you. And the vote is still counting. States were created and you don't have problems. Everybody concur and they are moving because they know where they are going. They know that the paradise that they are looking for is better than the doomsday that they are already in since 1914 to this very day. So when you listen to these nonsensical people here in the studio telling you, the international community will not recognize you, international community, it is not international community that will decide your fate. It is not international community that will decide that you live or you die. It is so. Are you telling me that it is international community that decided for Fulani terrorists and gave them weapons to come to your community and be killing you and evicting all of you and take over your lands? Was it international community that sent them? Was it United Nations that sent Boko Haram terrorists to be coming to kill all of you and to take over your lands? So it was a mandate from international community. It was a mandate from United Nations. It was a mandate from EU. It was a mandate from America. It was a mandate from UK. And so sit down and wait now. Let them wipe all of you off. When they finish wiping you off, then you now go back in your other world, in your grave. You from your grave, go and meet international community, go and meet United Nations, go and meet UK, go and meet EU. And then tell them now that I have now been wiped off the surface of the earth. I am coming from the dead realm to come and meet you and tell you now it is my turn to now go and take my stand and stand against the terrorists when you don't die finish. No, say your mumu too much. Sit down there now. International community should not be the one to decide that you are alive or you are dead or you should allow terrorists to wipe you out from the surface of the earth. It is your civic duty to exercise your self-determination right, your self-preservation. It is an act. Self-defense is not a crime. It is your constitutional right. What we are doing is that which has to be done. So you don't need to wait for international community to tell you that you should fight for your freedom before, or that they should recognize you before you get freed. No. You need a brutal force to continue to sustain the momentum and the resistance, thereby international community recognizing what you have done. The first people that have recognized what you have done and they have given you your support, which is embedded in the multi-video convention, is the Biafran people, which is your country of origin where you are fighting for. The people you are fighting for, they have already given you the mandate. That over 50 million vote is the maximum support and the biggest and the first criteria that you need for a government in exile to be able to have the legitimacy to stand and do anything. When you hear the Prime Minister tells you that after the Biafra Declaration Convention in Finland in December 3rd, that you will understand that the power and the mandate of the people given to us is supreme. That is where I want you to understand. So forget about these idiots that call themselves journalists that doesn't know their left from the right. They don't go and read books. They only read paper that is given to them, and they talk according to the paper that is given to them. They don't go and do quantitative analysis. They don't go and reason. They don't do quantitative reasoning. They don't go and use their number 6 and think and make research and then come back and understand and ask questions. The first question they should ask is, Simon Ekpa, or Prime Minister of Biafra, why did you start by setting up a government body? Second, why did you also start by implementing all the arms of this government, and what are the importance and implications? Then, why did you exercise the power from the day you inaugurated the Biafra Liberation Forces in Finland Convention of October 2023? Then, why did you now wait until you enter 2024 that you now started this Biafra self-referendum? What is the significance of that Biafra self-referendum? That's the question you should have asked. The significance of this Biafra referendum is to get the massive demanded support of the indigenous people, giving you the mandate to fight for them and to fight ahead. This is a universal accepted means of openly meeting the people that you're fighting for, putting up their interests on the table, and then they unanimously come, casting the vote one after another and pinning their signature and telling you, yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do. This is the way the forceful amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914 should have been done. They should have given you people time to now conduct a referendum whether all of you want to be forced into one Nigeria in the amalgamation. They should have given like 9 to 10 months where you will continue to be casting this vote, like the Prime Minister is doing now with his government. Biafrans are casting this vote since April, and the vote is counting, and the vote is counting. Every people and communities and ethnicities in the Biafran map, they are coming in to cast their vote and giving their vote of confidence to the Biafran government to say, yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do, yes, I do. It is one of the templates that must be used. Mumu people, for Nigerian conventional media, when they read the back of the book, now the back of the book of one Nigeria, now they read the inside. That is why people are having problems every time when you come to the media. You're interpreting and misinterpreting and reading the back of the book to the masses. You're not reading the front. You're not even going inside to go and open inside the book and read. Nonsense people. We are here to dismantle and to teach you people what you should know. Idiots. We, where we say we don't even go school, go study journalism. When we want to talk, we will go and reason it well, try to make research and then study and find out this and this and know the implications and the step-by-step of what this means and what this means. The Nigerian conventional media is that they say they study journalism, they say they be analysts, so they will carry book, they read the prefix of the book. They will go and read the summary of the book. They will read the acknowledgement of the book. Somebody that said he compiled 10 paper when you were in a higher institution. You don't know that it is not all about the summary and the prefix and the conclusion. You have to go into the body where you make the research. Go into the body of the project. Open it and dissect it and let us know how you came about all these things. This is Yoji. I salute all Biafrans, and we want you to understand and disregard every idiot that call themselves one Nigerian who are propagating nonsense there. The over 50 million mandate of the Biafran people is a primary objective and demand that you need to get as a support from your country that you are fighting for. After then, you seek international recognition and support. We have gotten that of the Biafran people, and we are seeking that of the international now. That is why you see Prime Minister going from one place to another, making sure he talks to American congressmen and women. Put Biafra on the table, discuss and talk to them, engage and let them understand what needs to be done. And while all this is ongoing, we are still delegitimizing the Nigerian terrorists in Biafra land. The Woto Promax is ongoing. And all this will encapsulate into the convention in Finland. By the time we bring all this into one equation and then we give it the result equals to, you will understand the mathematics that has been working the work all these years. So I salute all Biafrans, and I say, let's keep the fire burning, because the Biafran government, the Biafran Prime Minister is taking Biafra matters to the global recognition at this time. And we need more of your support financially, because with all this support, we can be able to achieve more and the work will be easier. I salute you all.
Must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
Those who are asking, did you say Biafra will come in 2023? Biafra has been restored already. What is remaining is a complete declaration that will be defended. And before that happens, there are many things that we need to put in place. I want you to recount the achievement of the Biafra Republic government in exile under the leadership of Simon Ekpa, what we have achieved in 2023, and ask yourself that question again, and you will look very stupid. We have been able to form government in exile in 2023. In 2023, we have formed the de facto government. In 2023, we have launched Biafra Liberation Army. In 2023, we launched Biafra Navy, we launched Biafra Air Force, we launched the forces of Biafra. In 2023, we adopted Helsinki Declaration, which is the constitution of Biafra. In 2023, we had a convention in Finland where Biafra people gathered from all over the world as delegates to vote on the Biafra Charter, which is a living document subjected to amendment. In 2023, we have created 40 states of Biafra, and believe me, many more states will come, because we are not done yet. In 2023, not only that we created state, we also brought a redesigned and a redrawn Biafra map to reflect the current situation and the current demography of Biafra. In 2023, we started engaging officially Nigeria state in a guerrilla warfare on self-defense. In 2023, we officially and publicly engaged Nigeria Terrorist Army, and we are neutralizing them on a daily basis. It has never happened before in the history of Biafra after the war. In 2023, we publicly and openly made sure that Nigeria doesn't kill again in Biafra land and go free. So if you look at those things I've mentioned and those ones I have not even mentioned, are you still going to challenge Simon Ekpa that Biafra has not been restored in 2023? Biafra declaration is not about mouth pronouncement. It's about putting every structure in place. It's about putting every mechanism and measures in place to shaping the map and the structure of Biafra. In 2023, we have designed the economic viability of Biafra. In 2023, we have kicked off the Biafra Urban Development Project. In 2023, we've made a lot of impact globally. In 2023, the Biafra awareness gained the highest momentum in the history of Biafra since after the war. In 2023, we made the Nigeria terrorist army to cry on the floor of National Assembly. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. In 2023, those who are serving as the agent of Nigeria, benefiting from the corrupt entity called Nigeria, openly called for persecution, execution, and the kidnapping and arresting of Simon Ekpa because they know that this is a different thing from what they have seen in their entire life. In 2023, they call for the arrest of Simon Ekpa and call for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Confusion. In 2023, after they have used many years to plan the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they have come to say Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a saint. He's a very gentleman. He's a nice person. But just 2 years ago, they kidnapped this nice person from Kenya. 2 years ago, they tortured him for 8 days. 2 years ago, he was an evil man. 2 years ago, they called him terrorist. 2 years ago, he was everything evil to them. 2 years ago, they spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. They kidnapped him and put him into a private jet from Kenya to Nigeria. 2 years ago, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was everything evil to Nigeria, including to Ohaneze Ndigbo and all of them. 2 years ago, he was the only problem of Nigeria. 2 years ago, he was the only person that constituted all manner of insecurity in Nigeria. He was the one who is more deadlier than Boko Haram. He was everything that Nigeria don't want to see. Today, as Simon Ekpa take the Biafra liberation to the next level, the same people are now calling Mazi Nnamdi Kanu the most sensible person. These are hypocrites. These are devilish people. These are criminals that only thing they want to do is to give dog a bad name in order to kill it. They have given that name to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They themselves were the one who condemned Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The same people today, they have seen that, yes, indeed, someone actually followed this footstep of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and ready to drag all of them to Biafra land. So that when we get to Biafra land, we will treat their fuck up very well. Today, the same people who gave the bad name to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in order to be kidnapped, they slandered his name, blackmailed him to other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. All of them today has come to say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is very sensible. Now it is Simon Ekpa is the problem. These people who are just evil from birth refuse to understand why Simon Ekpa have decided to take this thing upon himself to liberate the people of Biafra who has been subjugated and chained with Islamic State agenda. They found themselves in a hole. They tagged us, thought, in a circle because they thought that they have actually systematically conquered everybody by dividing, creating state, dividing us, changing the demography and map of Biafra people. And at the end of the day, they structured out 5 tiny states, called it 5 Eastern states. And they say, let us continue to divide them. And now they tell you, oh, you are talking about Biafra. You are just 5 states in the circle. We have come to destroy their evil agenda. Today, you will understand that the plan of the Islamic State has failed. Today, the Biafra people are proudly announcing the 40th state, which is called the United States of Biafra. 40 complete states, cut across board, including in the area where they claim they were never Biafra. I have come to learn from what Biafra did wrong in 1967 to 1970. I have come to learn what Wazirike did wrong from the time he started the Biafra movement, and I have come to learn what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did right and was in the process of doing before they planned and kidnapped him. I continue from there, and today we are where we are. They are not resting. Those IPOB Nigeria are not resting as well. Every given opportunity, they think that there is infight in the Biafra government. They will say, oh, their hope now is that they are fighting. And they are hoping that there is infight in the Biafra government. That is to tell you that, like we said, they are cursed. They are cursed. And they can never rise again. Biafra government in exile is a government that nobody born of a woman marching on this planet, using your foot to walk on the ground, will ever destroy. Biafra has been restored in 2023. We have a government, we have a structure of the government of Biafra, we have every department that made Biafra government a legitimate government. The people of Biafra are loyal to the government, both in the exile and in the homeland. We have governors, state administrators in all the 40 states of Biafra. We have the deputy governors, which is called administrators. We have the secretary of state of each state in Biafra land. We have the chairmen and managers of county and the district. If you do not understand that with this structure we have now, one day you will sleep in Nigeria and wake up in Biafra. It means that you are an idiot. I told you that by the time I finish with Nigeria, you will sleep in Nigeria one day and wake up in Biafra. The next phase is to set up the police of Biafra. The reason why we have not set up the police is because it is going to be state police. Every state will have their police. Every state will be independent. It is going to be local police, and there is no interference from the central government of Biafra. The military is a joint military. It's one military that will protect the territorial integrity of Biafra. When one state is attacked, it means that you have attacked all of us. So my people, for those who are asking when are you going to declare Biafra, we have already declared Biafra. We are only waiting for us to conclude the last phase of the Biafra government, and one day you will sleep and wake up in Biafra. Like I said, then we must capture every cranny of the Biafra territory.